The water around my destroyer turned white as we cut through the darkness of Surigao Strait, and I could feel the deck plates vibrating beneath my boots as our engines pushed us toward what would become the last great battleship duel in naval history. It was October 25, 1944, and I was Torpedoman Second Class Jimmy Sullivan aboard the USS Melvin, one of 28 destroyers racing into the jaws of hell. Behind us, our battleships and cruisers waited like sleeping giants, but we destroyers would draw first blood. In my torpedo room, 6 Mark 15 torpedoes sat in their tubes like coiled serpents, each one carrying 643 pounds of Torpex explosive, enough to split a battleship's hull wide open. I pressed my ear to the cold steel of tube number 3 and whispered a prayer, because in 20 minutes, these fish would either make history or send us all to the bottom of the Philippine Sea. The Mark 15 torpedo had become America's underwater sword of vengeance, and tonight it would taste Japanese steel. 6 months earlier, I'd been a green kid from Iowa who'd never seen the ocean, let alone a torpedo. But the Navy had a way of turning farm boys into sailors, and by October 1944, I knew every bolt and wire in those Mark 15 fish. They were beautiful weapons, if you could call instruments of destruction beautiful, 21 inches in diameter, 24 feet long, and capable of running at 45 knots for over 4 miles. Each torpedo carried enough explosive power to blow a hole the size of a barn door in any ship afloat. The Mk-15 had earned its reputation the hard way, through countless battles across the Pacific. Unlike the early war Mark 14s that had plagued our submarine force with faulty magnetic exploders and depth control problems, the Mark 15 was a proven killer. Its simple contact exploder worked every time, and its steam turbine engine, fed by alcohol fuel and compressed air, drove it straight and true through any sea condition. Lieutenant had gathered us torpedo crews that morning in the mess hall, his weathered face grave under the harsh fluorescent lights. Boys, intelligence reports that Admiral Nishimura's battleship force is coming up through Surigao Strait tonight. 2 battleships, 1 cruiser, and 4 destroyers. They think they're going to surprise our landing forces at Leyte Gulf. He paused, letting that sink in. Around me, 24 sailors sat in absolute silence. We all knew what this meant. Admiral Oldendorf has positioned our battle line across the top of the strait. 6 battleships, 8 cruisers, and 28 destroyers. We're going to cross their T and give them the fight of their lives. But first, we destroyers are going in for a torpedo attack. My stomach clenched. A destroyer torpedo attack meant getting close, real close, to enemy battleships in the dark. It meant racing through enemy fire at maximum speed while trying to line up perfect torpedo shots. It meant that a lot of us wouldn't be coming back. The Mark 15 torpedoes you've been maintaining and loading for months are going to win this battle for us. Lieutenant continued. Each fish is set to run at 10 feet depth. At 2,000 yards range, you'll have 90 seconds from launch to impact. Make them count. As I walked back to the torpedo room, my mind was already calculating angles and distances. The Mk-15s were loaded and ready, their gyroscopes spun up, and their engines primed. All they needed was targets. At 3 o'clock on October 25th, we entered Surigao Strait in column formation, 28 destroyers spread across 5 miles of dark water. The night was moonless and thick with humidity, perfect for a surprise attack. Our radar screens showed the enemy formation approaching from the south, 2 large blips that had to be battleships, surrounded by smaller escorts. I was stationed in the torpedo room with Torpedoman First Class Rodriguez, a veteran of Guadalcanal who'd been sinking Japanese ships since 1942. His hands were steady as he made final adjustments to the torpedo tube settings, but I could see the tension in his shoulders. "Sullivan, remember what I taught you about lead angles," he said quietly, his voice barely audible over the ventilation fans. "These Mk-15s are fast, but they're not instant. You've got to think ahead of where the target's going to be, not where it is." "I've got it, Rodriguez." "Track angle left 30, range 2,500 yards, torpedo runtime 100 seconds. "That's right. And remember, these fish are set for contact detonation. No magnetic like the early war fish. When they hit, they blow." Through the bulkhead, I could hear the bridge communication crackling over Thanercom. All torpedo rooms, this is the captain. Enemy formation bearing 180, range 15, 000 yards and closing. We will attack from the port beam in 15 minutes. Prepare for battle station's torpedo. My heart hammered against my ribs as the general quarters alarm shrieked through the ship. This was it. After months of preparation, we were finally going to use these weapons in anger. The Mark-15 torpedoes in their tubes seemed to pulse with potential energy. Each one represented months of American industrial might, precision-machined components, carefully mixed explosives, and the accumulated knowledge of naval engineers who'd learned hard lessons in the first years of the war. These weren't the unreliable fish that had frustrated our submarine commanders in 1942 and 1943. These were proven killers. At 3:30, Lieutenant's voice came over the intercom, calm and professional despite the chaos building around us. All stations, this is the captain. Enemy formation now bearing 185, range 8,000 yards. I can see the battleships on radar. Big ones. Estimate we're looking at Yamashiro and Fuso, plus escorts. I felt a chill run down my spine. The Fuso and Yamashiro were old battleships commissioned before World War I, but they still carried massive 14-inch guns that could blow our destroyer out of the water with a single salvo. Our only advantage was speed, surprise, and the deadly fish in our tubes. Torpedo rooms, prepare for port attack. Set torpedo run depth 10 feet, speed high. We'll be firing at 2,000 yards range. Rodriguez grabbed my shoulder. This is it, kid. Remember everything I taught you. These Mk-15s will do their job if we do ours. The destroyer heeled hard to port as Lieutenant brought us onto our attack heading. Through the hull, I could hear the whine of our engines at flank speed, pushing us toward the enemy formation at 35 knots. The deck tilted beneath our feet as we raced through the dark waters, spray flying over the bow. Range 4,000 yards and closing, came the report from the bridge. Enemy formation maintaining course and speed. They don't know we're here. In the torpedo room, we made final preparations. The Mark-15s were fully armed now, their contact exploders activated, their gyroscopes spinning at exactly the right speed to keep them running straight and true. Each torpedo was set to dive to 10 feet depth immediately after launch, then maintain that depth until impact. At that shallow setting, they would strike any battleship below the armor belt in the most vulnerable part of the hull. Range 3,000 yards, the bridge reported. I can see them now. 2 battleships in column, destroyers screening ahead and on the flanks. My mouth was desert dry. In a few minutes, those battleships would start shooting, and their 14-inch guns would turn the night into hell. But first, we had to get close enough to launch our fish. Torpedo rooms, stand by. Final bearing and shoot order coming up. Rodriguez checked the torpedo tube settings one last time. Gyro angles look good. Depth setting 10 feet. These fish are ready to hunt. Through the intercom, I could hear the contra-lead chaos on the bridge as the fire control team fed targeting data into the torpedo director. The Mark-15s didn't need the complex fire control systems that guided the big guns on battleships and cruisers. They were simpler weapons, but that simplicity made them reliable. Point them at the target, fire them at the right moment, and they would do the rest. Range 2,500 yards. Enemy battleships bearing 190. Speed 15 knots. Stand by for torpedo attack. This was the moment we trained for. In seconds, our Mark-15 torpedoes would be racing through the dark water toward the pride of the Japanese Navy. Fire 1. Fire 2. Fire 3. Captain Lieutenant's voice cut through the noise like a blade. The first Mark-15 torpedo roared out of its tube with a blast of compressed air, followed immediately by the second and third. I felt each launch through the deck plates as 2,600 pounds of torpedo and warhead left our ship and began their deadly run toward the enemy. Fire 4. Fire 5. Fire 6. Our remaining torpedoes launched in rapid succession, 6 deadly fish now racing through the black water at 45 knots. Each Mark-15 left a faint phosphorescent wake as its contra-rotating propellers bit into the sea. But in the darkness, Those wakes were nearly invisible. All fish running hot, straight, and normal, Rodriguez reported, monitoring the torpedo status indicators. Impact in 90 seconds. Around us, the other destroyers in our squadron were also firing. Through the hull, I could hear the compressed air blasts as torpedo after torpedo launched from ships across our formation. In the span of 3 minutes, over 100 Mark 15 torpedoes were racing toward the Japanese battle line. Hard right rudder, Lieutenant ordered, all ahead flank. Let's get the hell out of here. The Melvin heeled sharply to starboard as we began our escape run. Behind us, our torpedoes continued their relentless approach toward the enemy battleships. The Mark 15s were running at optimal depth now, their steam turbine engines pushing them through the water at maximum speed. In 70 seconds, they would reach their targets. That's when the Japanese opened fire. The first enemy salvo lit up the night like chain lightning, massive orange flashes erupting from the battleship guns followed by the screaming roar of 14-inch shells passing overhead. The Japanese had finally spotted our muzzle flashes and were firing back with everything they had. Rodriguez muttered, gripping a support beam as a near miss shook our destroyer. Those are big guns. Through the intercom, I could hear damage reports from other ships in our formation. The Japanese fire was heavy and accurate, but we were already opening the range, racing away from the enemy at flank speed while our torpedoes continued their approach. Torpedo runtime 60 seconds, I announced, watching the chronometer. Somewhere in the darkness ahead, 6 Mark 15 torpedoes were closing on their targets, their contact exploders armed and ready. The beauty of the Mk-15 was its simplicity and reliability. Unlike the complex Mark 14 torpedoes that had plagued our submarine force early in the war, the Mark 15 had a straightforward contact exploder that worked every time. When the torpedo's nose hit a ship's hull, a firing pin would drive into a primer charge, detonating the main warhead instantly. There were no magnetic exploders to malfunction, no depth control problems to send the fish running too deep or too shallow. Just 643 pounds of Torpex explosive delivering its full force directly against the target's hull. 40 seconds to impact, I called out. The Japanese fire was intensifying, with shells landing closer to our formation. But our destroyers were fast and maneuverable, weaving through the enemy fire while maintaining maximum speed. Behind us, over 100 American torpedoes continued their deadly approach. 10 seconds to impact, I announced, my voice tight with anticipation. The entire torpedo room fell silent except for the hum of ventilation fans and the distant rumble of our engines. Somewhere in the darkness behind us, our Mark 15 torpedoes were seconds away from striking the enemy battleships. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. The first explosion lit up the southern horizon like a miniature sun. Even at 10 miles distance, I could see the orange flash of a torpedo warhead detonating against a battleship's hull. Then came the second explosion, and the third as Mark 15 after Mark 15 found their targets. Holy Rodriguez breathed. Look at that. Through the torpedo room's small porthole, I could see fires blazing on the enemy ships. Our torpedoes were hitting home, each 643-pound warhead blasting massive holes in Japanese hulls. The Mark 15s were designed to detonate on contact, and the distinctive sound of their explosions carried across the water. A sharp crack followed by a deep rumbling boom as tons of seawater rushed into the breached compartments. Multiple hits on both battleships, came the report from the bridge. I can see at least 6 fires burning. The leading battleship is listing to port. More explosions followed as torpedoes from other destroyer squadrons found their marks. The Japanese formation was being hammered by over 100 Mark 15 torpedoes, each one striking with the force of a freight train loaded with high explosives. The battleship Fuso took at least 4 torpedo hits along her port side, the Mark 15 warheads blasting holes below her armor belt that no amount of damage control could seal. I watched through binoculars as she began to list heavily, fires spreading along her superstructure. That's what happens when American torpedoes work right, Rodriguez said grimly. No duds, no premature explosions, no running too deep. Just honest contact hits that put the explosives exactly where they need to be. But the Japanese weren't finished. Despite the torpedo damage, their remaining guns continued firing at our retreating destroyers. A salvo of 14-inch shells landed close enough to the Melvin to shower our deck with seawater, the concussion rattling every piece of equipment in the torpedo room. Damage report from all compartments, Lieutenant ordered over the intercom. And reload tubes 1 through 6. We might need them again before this night is over. Rodriguez and I began the complex process of reloading our torpedo tubes, muscle memory guiding our movements as we manhandled fresh Mark15s into position. Each torpedo weighed over 2,600 pounds, but the loading gear made the job manageable. As we worked, more explosions echoed across the water behind us. The battleship Yamashiro was fighting for her life, her damage control crews working frantically to contain the flooding from multiple torpedo hits. But the Mark15s had done their work well. Each contact explosion had blown a hole 20 feet wide in her hull, and no ship could survive that kind of damage indefinitely. As our destroyer Torpedo Attack ended, the main event was about to begin. Admiral Oldendorf's battle line, 6 American battleships, led by the Pennsylvania, California, Tennessee, Maryland, Mississippi, and West Virginia, had been waiting in position across the northern end of Surigao Strait like a steel trap. From her position 10 miles away, I could see the muzzle flashes as our battleships opened fire on the crippled Japanese formation. These weren't just any battleships. 5 of the 6 had been sunk or damaged at Pearl Harbor and rebuilt with the latest radar fire control systems and improved armor. They were out for revenge, and the Japanese were about to feel the full weight of American naval power. "Look at that," Rodriguez said, pointing toward the horizon where continuous flashes marked the position of our battle line. "Those are 16-inch guns talking." The sound reached us seconds later, a rolling thunder that seemed to shake the very ocean. Our battleships were firing full salvos, each shell weighing as much as a small car and capable of penetrating the thickest armor ever made. But it was our Mark15 torpedoes that had made this classic naval engagement possible by crippling the Japanese ships and slowing them down enough for our guns to find the range. Through the intercom, we received updates on the battle's progress. "The Japanese formation is breaking up," Lieutenant announced. "Yamashiro is dead in the water and burning. Fuso appears to be sinking by the bow. The enemy destroyers are attempting to lay smoke and withdraw. But there would be no withdrawal for the Japanese. Our torpedo attack had sealed their fate, and now our battleships were delivering the coup de grace with methodical precision. The Mark15 torpedoes had done exactly what they were designed to do: penetrate enemy defenses and deliver devastating damage below the waterline where no armor could protect against them. "Yamashiro just exploded," came another report. "Massive explosion amidships. She's breaking apart." I pressed my face to the porthole and watched as a pillar of fire and smoke rose thousands of feet into the air. The old Japanese battleship had finally succumbed to the combination of torpedo damage and shell hits, her magazines detonating in a blast that could be seen for 50 miles. "That's what happens when you mess with the U.S. Navy," Rodriguez said quietly. "Our fish opened them up, and our big guns finished the job." The Fuso lasted another hour before she too succumbed to her wounds, rolling over and sinking by the bow with most of her crew still aboard. The Japanese destroyers fared no better, caught between our retreating torpedo destroyers and the advancing cruisers of Admiral Oldendorf's screening force. By dawn on October 25, 1944, the entire Japanese force had been annihilated. 2 battleships, 1 cruiser, and 4 destroyers, over 4,000 Japanese sailors, had been sent to the bottom of Surigao Strait. American losses were minimal: 24 killed and wounded, mostly from shell splinters. It was the most one-sided naval victory in American history, and it had all started with our Mark15 torpedoes racing through the dark water like silent predators. As we secured from battle stations and began assessing damage, I found myself thinking about the weapons that had made our victory possible. The Mark15 torpedo represented the culmination of decades of American naval engineering, a weapon that had learned from the hard lessons of the early war years. Unlike the notorious Mark14 that had frustrated our submarine crews with faulty magnetic exploders and erratic depth control, the Mark15 was a model of reliability. Its steam turbine propulsion system, fed by alcohol fuel and compressed air, could push the torpedo at speeds up to 45 knots for distances over 6,000 yards. More importantly, its simple contact exploder worked every single time. "You know what makes these fish so deadly?" Rodriguez asked as we performed post-battle maintenance on our remaining torpedoes. "It's not just the explosive power. Those 643 pounds of Torpex will ruin anybody's day. It's the reliability. Every fish we fired tonight hit exactly where it was supposed to hit and exploded exactly when it was supposed to explode." He was right. The Mark 15's success lay in its engineering philosophy. Make it simple, make it robust, and make it work under combat conditions. The torpedo's gyroscopic guidance system kept it running straight and true regardless of sea conditions. Its depth control mechanism maintained precise running depth throughout the entire attack run. And most critically, its contact exploder detonated the warhead the instant the torpedo nose struck the target. "Look at this," Rodriguez said, pointing to a technical diagram on the torpedo room wall. "See how the exploder works. When nose hits the target hull, this firing pin gets driven back into the primer charge. No complicated magnetic sensors, no depth-dependent mechanisms. Just pure mechanical contact that triggers the main charge every time." The Mark 15's warhead was equally impressive. 643 pounds of Torpex, an explosive mixture more powerful than TNT, packed into a precisely shaped charge designed to focus maximum blast effect against the target's hull. When a Mark 15 struck a ship, it didn't just punch a hole, it created a devastating explosion that could break a vessel's back or flood multiple compartments instantly. "These torpedoes cost about $10,000 each," Rodriguez continued. "That sounds like a lot of money. But when you consider that we just sank 2 battleships worth maybe $100 million, I'd say we got our money's worth." The numbers were staggering when you thought about them. Our destroyer squadron had expended 60 Mark 15 torpedoes in the attack, representing about $600,000 worth of weapons. In return, we had eliminated an entire Japanese battle fleet worth hundreds of millions of dollars and thousands of trained personnel that Japan could never replace. But the real value of the Mark 15 wasn't measured in dollars. It was measured in the lives of American soldiers and sailors who would never face those Japanese battleships in future battles. Every enemy ship we sank tonight was one less threat to our landing forces at Leyte Gulf. As the sun rose over Surigao Strait on October 25, 1944, the full scope of our victory became clear. The oil-stained waters were littered with debris from the Japanese fleet, life preservers, wooden planking, and pieces of superstructure that told the story of a naval force completely annihilated. From the Melvin's bridge, Captain Lieutenant surveyed the battlefield through binoculars, his weathered face showing a mixture of satisfaction and soberness. "Gentlemen," he announced over the intercom, "we have just witnessed the last battleship engagement in naval history, and our Mark 15 torpedoes made it possible." He was right. The age of the big gun battleship was ending, but it was going out with a bang. Our torpedo attack had demonstrated the deadly effectiveness of the destroyer-launched Mark 15, while our battleships had shown that when properly employed, naval gunnery could still deliver devastating results. Casualty reports coming in from the other ships, the communications officer reported. USS Albert W. Grant took some friendly fire during the engagement, multiple casualties. But overall, our losses are minimal. Rodriguez and I were cleaning torpedo tubes when word came down about the Japanese losses. It was almost too much to believe. The battleship Yamashiro had gone down with Admiral Nishimura and most of her crew, over 1,400 men. The Fuso had broken in half and sunk with another 1,600 sailors. The cruiser Magami and 3 destroyers had also been lost, bringing the total Japanese death toll to over 4,000. 4,000 men, Rodriguez said quietly. That's like wiping out an entire regiment in one night. But those numbers represented more than just casualties. They represented the systematic destruction of Japanese naval power in the Pacific. Every ship we sank, every trained sailor lost, brought us one step closer to victory. The Mark 15 torpedoes had played a crucial role in that process, delivering precise, reliably destruction exactly where it was needed most. "You know what I'm most proud of?" Rodriguez asked as we secured the last torpedo tube. Not one of our fish malfunctioned. Not one ran too deep or too shallow. Not one exploder failed to detonate. After all the problems we had early in the war, these Mark 15s performed exactly as advertised. He was referring to the torpedo scandal of 1942 and 1943, when faulty Mark 14 torpedoes had allowed countless Japanese ships to escape destruction. Submarine commanders had watched in frustration as torpedo after torpedo either missed their targets due to depth control problems, or hit but failed to explode due to defective magnetic exploders. The Mark 15 had solved all those problems through careful engineering and extensive testing. Its simple contact exploder eliminated the magnetic exploder issues, while its improved depth control system kept the torpedo running at precisely the set depth throughout its entire run. The result was a weapon that submarine and destroyer crews could trust completely. "These fish are going to win the war for us," Rodriguez said. "Every Japanese ship we sink with them is one less ship they can use to defend their home islands." As we headed back to base for resupply and maintenance, the strategic implications of our victory were becoming clear. The Battle of Surigao Strait hadn't just eliminated a Japanese battle force, it had demonstrated the technological superiority of American naval weapons and the tactical skill of American commanders. The Mark 15 torpedo had played a central role in both demonstrations. Unlike the early war period, when torpedo failures had allowed Japanese ships to escape with minimal damage, every Mark 15 fired during the battle had performed exactly as designed. The result was a level of destruction that would have been impossible with less reliable weapons. Intelligence reports are coming in about Japanese reaction to the battle, Captain Lieutenant announced during the afternoon briefing. Radio intercepts suggest they're shocked by the complete loss of the Nishimura force. They expected to lose some ships, but not the entire formation. The Japanese had good reason to be shocked. In their experience, night surface actions usually resulted in confused melees with losses on both sides. They had never faced the combination of radar fire control, reliable torpedoes, and coordinated tactics that characterized American naval operations in late 1944. "The Mark 15 torpedoes gave us a decisive advantage," Lieutenant continued. "By launching over 100 fish simultaneously, we overwhelmed their defenses and scored multiple hits on both battleships before they could effectively respond. It was a textbook demonstration of concentrated firepower. Instead of attacking piecemeal, our 28 destroyers had launched a coordinated torpedo attack that saturated the enemy's defensive capabilities. Even if the Japanese had detected our approach earlier, they couldn't have avoided all 100 torpedoes racing toward them through the dark water." The psychological impact was equally important. Japanese naval commanders had grown accustomed to American torpedo failures in the early war years. They had developed tactics based on the assumption that American fish would either miss or fail to explode. The devastating effectiveness of the Mark 15 torpedoes at Surigao Strait forced them to completely revise their tactical thinking. "From now on, every Japanese commander is going to assume that American torpedoes work perfectly," Rodriguez observed. "That changes everything about how they'll approach surface engagements." He was right. The reputation of American torpedoes had been rehabilitated in a single night, and that reputation would influence Japanese decision-making for the rest of the war. Knowing that American destroyers carried reliable, deadly torpedoes would make Japanese commanders more cautious about surface engagements, giving us additional tactical advantages in future battles. The Mark 15 had proven itself not just as a weapon, but as a psychological force that would reshape naval warfare in the Pacific. During our return voyage to Manus Island, I had time to reflect on the technical factors that had made our victory possible. The Mark 15 torpedo represented more than just improved engineering. It embodied a completely different approach to weapons development that emphasized reliability over complexity. "Look at this," Rodriguez said, showing me a cutaway diagram of the torpedo's propulsion system. "See how simple this is compared to the early war fish? Alcohol fuel, compressed air, steam turbine. No exotic fuels, no complicated injection systems. Just proven technology that works every time." The Mark 15 steam propulsion system was indeed a marvel of reliable engineering. The torpedo carried its own alcohol fuel and compressed air, which were combined in a combustion chamber to create high-pressure steam. This steam drove a turbine connected to contra-rotating propellers, giving the torpedo its speed and endurance. What made the system so reliable was its simplicity. Unlike electric torpedoes that could fail if their batteries were damaged, or hydrogen peroxide torpedoes that were prone to explosive decomposition, the Mark 15 steam system was virtually foolproof. As long as the fuel and air tanks remained intact, the torpedo would run at full power throughout its entire attack run. The guidance system is just as reliable, Rodriguez continued, pointing to another diagram. Gyroscopic control, mechanical depth setting, contact exploder. Everything proven, everything simple, everything that works in combat. The torpedo's gyroscope was a masterpiece of precision manufacturing, maintaining the fish's heading within 1 degree throughout runs of several miles. Its depth control mechanism used water pressure to maintain precise running depth, while its contact exploder triggered the warhead with mechanical certainty when the nose struck a target. You know what the real genius was? Rodriguez asked. The decision to go with contact exploders instead of magnetic ones. Sure, magnetic exploders sound more sophisticated, but they don't work reliably under combat conditions. These contact exploders work every single time, no matter what. The Mark 15's contact exploder had been designed after extensive analysis of the Mark 14's magnetic exploder failures. Instead of trying to fix the complex magnetic system, Navy ordnance engineers had created a simple mechanical exploder that detonated the warhead on physical contact with the target. The result was a weapon that submarine and surface ship crews could trust completely. Every one of these torpedoes cost $10,000 to manufacture, Rodriguez noted. But when you consider that we just eliminated $200 million worth of Japanese warships, that's the best return on investment in military history. 3 days later, as we pulled into Manus Island for resupply, the full casualty reports from the Battle of Surigao Strait were finally complete. The numbers told a story of overwhelming American victory achieved at minimal cost. Japanese losses: 2 battleships, 1 heavy cruiser, 4 destroyers, and over 4,000 killed or missing. American losses: 39 killed, 114 wounded, mostly from friendly fire incidents during the chaotic night engagement. It was the most one-sided naval victory since Nelson's triumph at the Nile in 1798. 4,000 Japanese sailors died last night, Captain Lieutenant said during our debriefing session. That's 4,000 trained men that Japan can never replace. Every one of them represented months or years of naval training, and now they're gone. He paused, looking out over the harbor where dozens of American warships swung at anchor. But let's not forget that those men were trying to kill American soldiers and sailors. They were part of a force intended to attack our landing ships at Leyte Gulf and slaughter thousands of our people. We stopped them, and we stopped them permanently. The strategic implications were staggering. By eliminating the Nishimura force, we had prevented a coordinated attack on our amphibious forces at Leyte Gulf. The Japanese plan had called for 3 separate battle groups to converge on our landing ships simultaneously, creating a killing field that could have resulted in thousands of American casualties. Instead, our Mark 15 torpedoes had turned the hunters into the hunted. The Japanese force that was supposed to attack our vulnerable transports and landing craft had been annihilated before it could reach its target. Intelligence estimates that we prevented at least 10,000 American casualties by stopping that attack. Lieutenant continued. Every torpedo we fired last night saved American lives today, but victory had come at an emotional cost as well. Even in the torpedo room, surrounded by the instruments of destruction we had wielded so effectively, it was impossible to ignore the human dimension of what we had accomplished. 4,000 men had died in the dark waters of Surigao Strait, and while they were enemy sailors fighting for a cause we opposed, they were still human beings with families and hopes and fears. I keep thinking about those Japanese sailors, I confided to Rodriguez as we performed maintenance on our remaining torpedoes. 4,000 men. That's like wiping out my entire hometown. Rodriguez was quiet for a long moment, his hand steady as he adjusted a torpedo gyroscope. Finally, he looked up at me with eyes that had seen too much war. Kid, here's what I learned at Guadalcanal, he said quietly. War's about killing the other guy before he kills you. Those Japanese sailors weren't evil men, but they were trying to kill American soldiers and sailors. Our job was to stop them, and we stopped them. That's what these Mark 15 torpedoes are for, ending fights before they start. In the weeks that followed the Battle of Surigao Strait, naval analysts began studying every aspect of our victory to extract lessons that could be applied to future engagements. The performance of the Mark 15 torpedoes became a central focus of these studies. What we learned, Captain Lieutenant explained during a technical briefing, is that reliable weapons are more important than sophisticated weapons. The Mark 15 isn't the most advanced torpedo in the world, but it's the most dependable. And in combat, dependability wins battles. The torpedo's success at Surigao Strait led to increased production orders and improved training programs. Every destroyer and submarine in the Pacific Fleet would be equipped with these proven weapons, giving American forces a decisive advantage in future surface engagements. The battle also demonstrated the importance of coordinated tactics. By launching over 100 torpedoes simultaneously, our destroyer force had created a saturation attack that overwhelmed Japanese defenses. This tactic would be refined and used in subsequent battles throughout the Pacific campaign. The Japanese made a fatal error, Lieutenant continued. They assumed that American torpedoes would perform as poorly as they did in 1942 and 1943. When they discovered that our Mark 15s were completely reliable, it was too late to adjust their tactics. This intelligence failure would have lasting consequences for Japanese naval operations. From Surigao Strait onward, Japanese commanders would have to assume that every American torpedo attack would be devastatingly effective, forcing them to adopt more defensive postures that reduced their operational flexibility. We fundamentally changed the balance of power in the Pacific, Lieutenant concluded. Every Japanese commander now knows that American destroyers carry weapons that can sink battleships. That knowledge will influence their decision-making for the rest of the war. As news of our victory reached the United States, the performance of the Mark 15 torpedo became a source of national pride. After years of reading about torpedo failures and missed opportunities, Americans finally had a weapon they could be proud of. My wife sent me a newspaper clipping, Rodriguez said, showing me an article from the Chicago Tribune. Listen to this. American torpedoes performed flawlessly in the recent Pacific engagement, sinking multiple enemy warships in what naval experts are calling the most successful torpedo attack in U.S. Navy history. The article went on to describe the technical improvements that had made the Mark 15 so reliable, comparing it favorably to the early war Mark 14 that had caused so much frustration. For the first time since Pearl Harbor, American naval technology was being portrayed as superior to Japanese equipment. It's about time, I said, after all the stories about torpedoes that didn't explode or ran under their targets. People were starting to wonder if we knew how to make weapons at all. The public relations impact was significant. Defense plant workers who manufactured Mark 15 components could now see concrete evidence that their efforts were making a difference. Families of submarine crews could take comfort in knowing that their sons and husbands carried reliable weapons into battle. Look at this production report, Rodriguez said, showing me another document from home. They're increasing Mark 15 manufacturing by 400%. Every shipyard in America is going to be building destroyers armed with these fish. The industrial mobilization behind the Mark 15 was staggering. Each torpedo required thousands of precisely machined components, from gyroscopes manufactured in Connecticut to explosive charges mixed in Tennessee. The warhead alone contained 643 pounds of Torpex, an explosive mixture that required specialized facilities and trained personnel to produce safely. My brother works at the torpedo factory in Rhode Island, Rodriguez continued. He says they're running 3 shifts around the clock 7 days a week. Every torpedo that comes off the production line could sink a Japanese warship. The psychological impact on American workers was equally important. After years of hearing about weapon failures and tactical setbacks, they finally had proof that American engineering could outperform the enemy. The Mark 15 success at Surigao Strait validated the industrial effort that millions of Americans had poured into the war effort. Intelligence intercepts captured in the days following the battle revealed the shock and confusion among Japanese naval commanders. They had expected to lose ships in their attack on Leyte Gulf. But they had never imagined that an entire battle force could be annihilated in a single engagement. "Listen to this," Lieutenant said, reading from a decoded Japanese message. "All ships of the Nashi-Mu RAF force have been lost. Enemy torpedo attack achieved complete surprise and devastating effectiveness. Recommend immediate review of all tactical procedures for surface engagement." The Japanese had good reason to be concerned. Their naval doctrine had been built around the assumption that night surface actions would result in confused melees with casualties on both sides. They had never faced the combination of radar fire control, reliable torpedoes, and coordinated tactics that had destroyed the Nashi-Mu RAF force. "Here's another one," Lieutenant continued. "American torpedo performance exceeded all previous estimates. Multiple hits observed on both battleships. Exploder reliability appears to be 100%. Previous intelligence regarding American torpedo deficiencies appears to have been incorrect." That last line was particularly significant. Japanese intelligence had been tracking American torpedo problems since the beginning of the war, and their tactical planning had been based on the assumption that most American fish would either miss or fail to explode. The devastating effectiveness of the Mark 15 torpedoes at Surigao Strait forced them to completely revise their threat assessments. The psychological impact might be even more important than the physical damage, Lieutenant observed. Every Japanese commander now has to assume that American torpedoes work perfectly. That changes everything about how they'll approach future engagements. This intelligence revolution would have far-reaching consequences. Japanese ships would now have to maintain greater distances from American destroyers, reducing their ability to deliver effective gunfire. Japanese submarines would face increased pressure to avoid American escort groups armed with reliable anti-submariner torpedoes. Most importantly, Japanese battle fleets would be reluctant to engage American forces in confined waters where torpedo attacks were most effective. The Mark 15 had not only won a tactical victory at Surigao Strait, it had fundamentally altered the strategic balance in the Pacific. As we prepared for our next combat mission, I found myself reflecting on the broader implications of what we had accomplished. The Battle of Surigao Strait had been more than just another naval engagement. It had been a demonstration of American technological and tactical superiority that would influence the course of the entire Pacific War. "You know what really matters about that battle?" Rodriguez asked as we ran final checks on our torpedo systems. "It wasn't just that we sank some Japanese ships. It's that we proved American weapons work better than theirs. Every Mark 15 we fired performed exactly as designed, while their ships couldn't even find us in the dark." He was right. The battle had showcased multiple American technological advantages. Radar fire control that allowed us to track and engage targets in complete darkness. Reliable torpedoes that hit what they were aimed at and exploded when they were supposed to, and coordinated tactics that maximized the effectiveness of our weapons. "These Mark 15s are just the beginning," Rodriguez continued. "Wait until we start using them against the Japanese home islands. Every major port, every naval base, every convoy ready is going to be within range of American destroyers and submarines carrying these fish." The strategic implications were staggering. With reliable torpedoes finally available in large numbers, American forces could threaten Japanese shipping throughout the Pacific. The island supply lines that sustained Japanese garrisons would become increasingly vulnerable to submarine and destroyer attacks using Mark 15 torpedoes. Intelligence estimates that Japan loses about 100,000 tons of shipping every month to submarine attacks, Rodriguez noted. With these new torpedoes, we could probably double that number, maybe triple it. Each Mark 15 torpedo represented the potential to sink thousands of tons of Japanese shipping, from oil tankers carrying fuel for their remaining aircraft to transports bringing supplies to their isolated garrisons. The cumulative effect would be to strangle the Japanese war economy by cutting the maritime lifelines that connected their empire. "You know what I think?" Rodriguez asked as we secured the torpedo room for our next patrol. "I think the Japanese made a fatal mistake when they attacked Pearl Harbor. They woke up American industry, and now that industry is producing weapons like these Mark 15s faster than they can sink our ships." The numbers supported his analysis. American shipyards were launching new destroyers faster than the Japanese could sink them, while American factories were producing Mark 15 torpedoes by the thousands. Every month that the war continued, The numerical advantage shifted further in America's favor. But numbers alone couldn't explain our victory at Surigao Strait. The Mark-15 torpedo had succeeded because it embodied a fundamental principle of successful weapon design. Reliability trumps sophistication. By focusing on making a weapon that worked consistently under combat conditions, American engineers had created a decisive advantage over more complex but less dependable Japanese systems. 6 months after the Battle of Surigao Strait, the Mark-15 torpedo had become the standard weapon for all American destroyers and many submarines operating in the Pacific. Its combat record was unprecedented. Hundreds of Japanese ships sunk, thousands of enemy sailors killed, and not a single recorded case of exploder failure. "Look at these battle reports," Lieutenant said during a briefing on our latest combat operations. Mark-15 torpedoes have sunk 2 Japanese aircraft carriers, 4 battleships, 12 cruisers, and over 50 destroyers and submarines. That's more enemy tonnage than we sank in the entire first year of the war. The torpedo's success had transformed American naval tactics. Destroyers that had previously been relegated to escort and screening duties were now being used as offensive weapons, hunting Japanese warships in their home waters. Submarines equipped with Mark-15s were penetrating deep into enemy-controlled seas, sinking supply ships and warships with equal effectiveness. Every Japanese commander now has to plan his operations around the assumption that American torpedoes will work perfectly. Lieutenant continued. That's changed the entire dynamic of naval warfare in the Pacific. This tactical revolution was evident in Japanese operational patterns. The remaining major warships rarely ventured far from heavily defended bases, limiting their ability to project power across the Pacific. Their convoy routes had been restructured to avoid areas where American submarines and destroyers were most active, reducing the efficiency of their logistics system. "We're not just sinking their ships," Rodriguez observed. "We're forcing them to change their entire strategy to account for our weapons." That's the mark of a truly decisive weapon system. The Mark-15 had also influenced American industrial planning. Torpedo production facilities were being expanded to meet increasing demand, while research and development programs were working on even more advanced weapons for the final assault on Japan. Every aspect of the American war effort had been energized by the success of reliable, effective weapons. "My cousin just graduated from torpedo school," Rodriguez mentioned. He said they're training 3 times as many torpedomen as they were a year ago. Every destroyer and submarine in the fleet is going to be fully equipped with these fish. This massive expansion of torpedo capabilities would have profound implications for the final phase of the Pacific War. Japanese merchant shipping was already under severe pressure from submarine attacks using Mark-15 torpedoes. As more American vessels entered service armed with these weapons, the pressure would become overwhelming. By early 1945, the Mark-15 torpedo had become the symbol of American naval dominance in the Pacific. Japanese shipping losses had reached critical levels, with over 200,000 tons sunk every month by submarines and surface ships using these reliable weapons. Intelligence reports that Japan is down to less than 2 million tons of merchant shipping, Lieutenant announced during our morning briefing. At current loss rates, their entire commercial fleet will be eliminated within 6 months. This shipping shortage was having cascading effects throughout the Japanese war economy. Oil tankers carrying fuel from the Dutch East Indies were being sunk faster than they could be replaced, starving Japan's aircraft and ships of fuel. Transport vessels carrying food and raw materials were disappearing at such a rate that civilian rationing had reached starvation levels. "Every Mark-15 torpedo we fire is shortening this war," Rodriguez said as we prepared for another combat patrol. "The Japanese can't fight without ships, and we're sinking their ships faster than they can build them." Our destroyer squadron had been assigned to hunt Japanese shipping in the waters around Formosa, where enemy convoys still attempted to move supplies between the home islands and the remaining overseas garrisons. It was dangerous work, carried out in enemy-controlled waters where Japanese aircraft and submarines posed constant threats. But the Mark-15 torpedoes gave us the confidence to operate aggressively in these hostile waters. We knew that every torpedo we fired would perform exactly as designed, giving us maximum effectiveness from each combat opportunity. "Target bearing 45, range 3,000 yards," came the report from the bridge. looks like a Japanese tanker with 2 destroyer escorts. This was exactly the kind of target our Mark 15 torpedoes had been designed to destroy. A single hit from one of our fish would be enough to sink the tanker, eliminating thousands of tons of precious fuel oil that Japanese forces desperately needed. Set torpedo run depth 8 feet. Speed high, I called out as we prepared for another attack. This tanker isn't going to make it to port. In the torpedo room, our Mark 15s sat ready in their tubes, each one representing the culmination of American naval engineering and industrial production. In a few minutes, they would be racing through the water toward another enemy target, continuing the systematic destruction of Japanese sea power that had begun at Surigao Strait. As I write these words in August 1945, the war in the Pacific has finally ended. Japan surrendered after the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but the victory had been assured months earlier by the systematic destruction of Japanese naval power, a destruction in which the Mark 15 torpedo played a crucial role. The statistics tell the story. Over 1,200 Japanese warships and merchant vessels sunk by Mark 15 torpedoes, representing more than 3 million tons of enemy shipping eliminated. Every one of those ships had carried supplies, troops, or weapons that could have prolonged Japanese resistance and cost American lives. But statistics can't capture the human dimension of what we accomplished. Every successful torpedo attack shortened the war and saved lives on both sides. The Japanese sailors who died in those attacks were fighting for a cause we opposed, but their deaths meant that American soldiers and sailors wouldn't have to face them in future battles. You know what I'm proudest of? Rodriguez asked as we prepared to head home after 4 years of combat in the Pacific. Not one Mark 15 torpedo we fired ever malfunctioned. Not one ran too deep or failed to explode. When we pulled the trigger, we knew exactly what was going to happen. That reliability had been purchased with the blood and frustration of submarine crews who had fought with defective weapons in the early years of the war. The Mark 15 represented not just improved engineering, but a commitment to giving American fighting men weapons they could trust with their lives. The torpedo's success had also vindicated American industrial capacity. The factories and shipyards that had seemed overwhelmed by the scale of global warfare had risen to the challenge, producing weapons of unmatched quality and reliability. Every Mark 15 that rolled off the production line represented the skill and dedication of American workers who understood that their efforts could determine the outcome of the war. As I look back on that night in Surigao Strait when our torpedoes first proved their worth, I'm struck by how much changed in those few minutes of combat. The age of unreliable American torpedoes ended forever, replaced by weapons that enemy commanders would learn to fear and respect. The psychological impact was as important as the physical destruction. Japanese naval officers could no longer count on American weapons failing at crucial moments. The Mark 15 torpedo had become America's underwater sword of vengeance, and it had cut through Japanese naval power with devastating effectiveness. From Surigao Strait to the final surrender in Tokyo Bay, these reliable weapons had helped secure victory in the Pacific and brought our boys home alive. In the end, that's what mattered most. Not the technical specifications or the impressive statistics, but the simple fact that American weapons worked when American lives depended on them. The Mark 15 torpedo had kept faith with the sailors and soldiers who carried it into battle, and that faith had been rewarded with victory. As we sailed home through the peaceful waters of the Pacific, I pressed me hand against the cold steel of torpedo tube number 31 last time. The fish inside would never be fired in anger. The war was over, and these weapons of destruction could finally rest. They had done their job with precision and reliability, helping to write the final chapter in America's greatest naval victory. The Mark 15 torpedo had proven that American engineering, American industrial might, and American fighting spirit could overcome any enemy. In the dark waters of Surigao Strait and 100 other battlefields, these silent predators had raced toward their targets with deadly certainty, striking Japanese hulls with devastating explosions that split steel like paper and sent the rising Sun Navy to the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. Victory had been achieved, and the Mark 15 torpedo had played its part in the greatest triumph in American naval history.